everybody, to the Getaway Podcast with Tony and Sean. I am Tony.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Jeff.
Sorry, that was that West Coast delay. We're on a West Coast delay. But we are back for episode 37. Dope Walker.
Oh, for the third time.
Dope Walker.
Hashtag.
Dope Walker.
Oh,
Clickbait. Dope Walker.
no clickbait.
NFL championships. Dope Walker.
He's got a college. He's got a college football award named after him.
Best running back,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, best running back.
Yes, the best running back award, Dope Walker, episode 37. So
Dope.
we are back. This is take three.
Three.
Some technical difficulties. We got DJ Clueless on the wheels of steel.
You see it over here, baby. I'm an expert.
Sean Huffman. All right. Whew. Guys, I don't know. We brought it twice.
I know. Here we go.
And in
We were
between,
bringing it twice.
like the pre and the in between was hot.
Man, so we got to get that same energy back. Sean, what is it like out there on the West Coast right now?
You know, it's the same as it's been since I got here in February 2018. It's nice.
Nice. Okay.
Sunshine
it's
and
nice here,
tacos,
too.
though. Yeah, my bad. Sunshine and tacos.
Okay. We've had a couple days of sunshine. We haven't had tacos, but we have had 60+ degree weather. So folks are lightening up a little bit with spring.
Welcome to spring,
hopefully
y'all.
here. Yes. Chicago. Check in from Chicago, Jeff. What y'all looking like over there?
Hey, we looking about the same as you, Tone. Sitting in that mid to low 60 range. Look, hoping that we don't get that Easter snap, right?
Mhm.
So right now it's been feeling pretty good.
All right, the Midwest, and you're actually feeling really good right now, right?
I
Right.
am, man. You know, my Wolverines are still in the tourney. They still
Right.
alive. Representing the Big Ten.
That's right. Congratulations.
Unlike that, I'm gonna go ahead and take my shot. Unlike that one school located in the central part of that state that we all originated from.
That's right. The number one school. You're right. That one school.
Although they were like the number one school that just blew up everybody's bracket. But hey,
Man, well, let me tell you, they were probably 1/10 of what blew up everybody's bracket because it's been a disaster the last few days since this thing started.
But y'all got it started. Y'all started. Y'all set the tone.
You're right. That's right. And I tell you what, I am happy for y'all. I will be rooting for y'all. Everybody needs a little bit of success.
So we got that on tape. We got a recording. We got you on record.
Yeah,
We got you
of
on
course,
record.
of course.
Y'all hear them gunshots?
You got as much time as y'all spend having to root for us, watching us perform when it matters. The least we can do is root for y'all when
But
we're
it
not,
matters.
in it.
It matters right now.
Right,
You're
right,
right. You're right. But we don't stay current. So right now, y'all on the couch
You're right.
watching. So
But we have learned from y'all on how to be humble and wait our turn
there's nothing
And
humble
wait.
about Ohio State.
and wait
Nothing.
and wait
There's
and
nothing
wait.
humble
All right, on loop. You
about
guys
being
wait
in
on
that.
loop.
Nothing.
Wait
Nothing
on loop.
humble.
Patience.
Look,
Patience, young grasshopper.
the
Hey, but
job,
at least
the
it
job.
takes 70,000 people to spell a 4-letter word. But
Ah.
I appreciate the fact that y'all get stuck. It
Jeff, you
takes-
still got that same joke.
What's that?
The 70,000 people to spell a 4-letter word. I get it.
Yeah.
I get
Go ahead, Notre Dame.
But you know what? Here's the deal.
Hush.
Here's the deal. The job of a good fight promoter is to put together one fighter and another fighter, and it matches up and it presents. This is like Hagler Hearns round one. Y'all want to keep going? Because me and the two other people that are watching live right now, we enjoy it. Let's go. Keep going.
No. I was as sincere as I could be when I say I hope they continue to represent the Big Ten, who is really struggling. The league's really struggling right now in the tournament. Represent, and hopefully, for my bracket's sake, they are in the Final Four. So,
you pushed them to the Final Four.
I pushed them to the Final Four.
Who, Michigan?
Yes.
I like the way they're playing. I do like the way they're playing.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. It's a change, because usually they're not relevant when it matters. But
Maybe
this
they're
year,
playing
they
so
absolutely
good
are.
right now out of fear because they saw their coach expose the Chicago South Side of him when that head coach from Maryland started popping off.
Talking outside his neck.
Yeah, man. He was on with Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose asked him on Jalen Jacoby why did he respond? What happened? He was like, "Hey, man, it wasn't nothing but I was trying to talk to the refs about a certain play and what happened in that play." And the coach was talking about I'm out the box, and he was like, "We're gonna do that." And he said the coach turned to him and started walking towards him like he was gonna do something. And Juwan ain't no punk. what are we doing?
It said it turned back the clock on him. For a second.
You see how many people it took to hold him back, and he was like, "No, get off me, son." It was easy, and if he wanted to go get it, he could have went and got him. But yeah, if I'm a player. If I'm a player and I see that out of my coach, I might be willing to play a little harder.
Well, that Coach of the Year honors.
There you go.
Hey, they got it rolling right now. It'll
Finally
hopefully it extends through the end of the tournament. Right. Finally.
Can we get Harbaugh to come to a practice or something?
Look, we might need him to come watch and have Juwan come out and talk to the team.
Shake him up a little bit. Who got something to say to Debo?
Let Juwan come out to the spring practice real quick and just be like, fellas, look.
This
is how you do it. This is how you do it.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it takes.
All right.
Whatever it takes.
So shifting gears, but still staying on you, Jeff, because, man, you just got it going on right now, man. Your teams are all trying to make big moves. So you got the team up north still in it and sitting pretty. You got the Chicago Bears, your NFL squad just found their franchise quarterback this week. They let Mitchell Trubisky, walk, and they signed the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, to a 1-year, $10+ million contract.
Poor Chicago.
Woo-wee. NFC North, look out. The black and blue division just got red. What have you to say about that?
Nothing. As I said before, I think I said it on the prior podcast.
I ain't no Bears fan, is what he gonna say.
I'm not a Bears fan. I will support them as the fact that I live in the city. I grew up a Cowboy fan.
How about the Cowboys?
But I will say this, Tone. I think your enthusiasm for Dalton being signed,
right,
is probably you're probably the only one expressing it when that's signed. No one here is excited about that move. Everybody thought
his wife is happy.
They thought the Bears fumbled that like they fumbled when they drafted Trubisky. So, although I would say, we'll stay on. I'll wait for that later. But it seems like the young man that everybody was trying to, we passed up on is having some legal troubles down in Houston. So.
Okay.
But
we're going to the serious part of the conversation.
No.
I'm
gonna stay off of that because right now,
yes. I think that's a good move.
So until more comes out, I think it's a safe one to leave alone.
That's right.
That's what we're doing.
I think that's what we're doing.
We don't want to be cutting edge on this. We're just gonna leave it be.
The Bears have not got it right at the quarterback position, and let's be honest. They've never had a great quarterback.
Ever.
Jim McMahon was not a great quarterback. He was lucky because of that defense and Peyton.
Well, why won't we talk about Deshaun?
Yeah, I think we need to leave that alone for right now.
Why?
We don't have
I say we wait. We wait till the facts come out. We wait till right now all we're doing is speculating. And I'm not trying to, and I don't care. I will say this: I don't care if it's him or anybody else.
I want to speculate on the side of conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Can I do that?
So
absolutely.
You think this is a smear campaign?
I think it's a smear campaign, and I think it's a real big coinky dink. That's coincidence. Coinky dink that the person, the attorney representing the women, is now up to 12.
So I heard.
Is a friend of the owner of the Texans.
Ooh.
It's a
so
real
here's
big
why I buy into that,
dink.
Sean.
I'm just saying,
Sean. Okay, so here's why I buy into that. Here's why I buy into that. Deshaun Watson. When we talk about Deshaun Watson, if you go back to the time he spent here, the time before he made it into the league,
Yeah.
he's always had a certain image,
Right.
a very clean image. And the reality of it is, man, these things to this degree don't typically just pop up.
No.
You can always find somebody that's like, yeah, I told you. Yeah. Listen, this has come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
And to come out of nowhere, not once, not twice, not 3 times, 12 people in 2 weeks.
Right.
That's nuts.
Just all of a sudden.
All of a
I
sudden.
I had not heard about the attorney being a friend of the owner. That's nuts.
I think I read that yesterday. It came out yesterday. And what normally happens, Tone, you are absolutely right. Like what normally happens is they get to the pro level and they get in trouble, and then all of a sudden, from back in college, you get all these people chiming in like, "Yep, back when we were in school, back at Clemson, or in the case I'm thinking of, back in Florida, Mr. Hernandez was XYZ." Right. And that we still haven't heard that from anybody at Clemson yet. And I know Dabo is a huge Deshaun Watson guy and big on the character. So we'll wait to see, like you guys said earlier, but I just wanted to put that out there so we have it going forward. Right now, we are on the record of saying it's a big coinky dink that the attorney is a close friend of the owner of the Houston Texans.
Now, let's talk facts because it's related.
Okay.
Houston also just signed a quarterback,
Tyrod
Taylor.
Yeah.
To a free agent contract. And basically, that was a shot out to Deshaun Watson. Now, I believe that's what it was. Nobody else cared about that signing. But I think that was a direct message to Deshaun Watson.
Basically
saying, okay, my man, we're not going to trade you. We're not going to let you out. You can sit out. We'll win as many games as we probably would have won, because if you look at the record last year, okay, this is a capable play setter. If we let you go, we're going to have to find the next guy anyway. We can already start looking for the next guy, and all it's going to do is cost you money because we're not going to let you go. That's what I think they're saying.
I don't know all the details. How many more years are left on his contract? Is he still on his rookie?
He just resigned that big huge deal.
He's in trouble.
He signed that big huge deal, and I believe that was after they let Hopkins go. So that would have been last year.
He's in trouble. He's in trouble. He doesn't have any leverage, right?
None now.
Not an ounce of leverage.
None now.
And I saw where Will Fuller, they let him go, or he traded him to the Dolphins, the receiver from Notre Dame, traded him to the Dolphins, and he posted something on Instagram, and your boy DeAndre Hopkins, who got out early too, he commented on his post and said, "We made it out." They are not happy with that organization, man. It's a bad thing.
Hey. So JJ Watt, all giving each other dap over social media. Hey, even the coach that got fired, he's like, maybe I wasn't the problem.
Right. What a mess.
Maybe I wasn't the problem.
What a mess.
So New England Patriots re-signed Cam Newton to a year deal. Now, a little different than his Cam. Mm-hmm. So a little different than his last year's contract, which was almost a minimum contract.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think he got $14 million. I'm sure there's some incentives in it. Okay. That was an interesting one as well, because everybody was talking about how, he was foregone conclusion he was going to be out the door. I'm interested to see how this works. What we've also seen over the last week and a half, New England has spent some serious jack on free agents.
Yeah.
Okay. And people say, well, nobody really gets that much better with free agency. They are doing some things that really resemble what they did years back when they drafted Aaron Hernandez early in the draft.
Yeah.
When they drafted, Gronkowski early in the draft, Aaron Hernandez in the 4th round.
Right.
All of a sudden, they created a little bit of a blueprint for some success.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you look at Cam. You look back at Cam last year. Cam did not have a terrible year. It kind of went downhill after the COVID, and we all know that we don't know anything about COVID and the effects and the lasting effects and things like that.
Right.
But he had a pretty good year going until then. he also had no supporting cast. You expected Edelman, who is a borderline Hall of Famer, to be there. He's not there. Then you have guys opting out of contracts because of COVID. Then you have, basically young players who some of them aren't even going to be here going forward. You have an offensive line that had been decimated. You got a lot of flux, okay, as far as the team. But from a draft standpoint, they just drafted Smith. Or excuse me, a free agent standpoint, they took Smith in free agency, who was with I believe the Titans, right?
Mm-hmm.
See Titans tight end, one of the better tight ends of the league. They also took the cat from out in San Diego, who had been hurt a little bit, but came into the league with high regards, high expectations. So if he can stay healthy, they're kind of putting together those two tight ends. And Sean, who are the best friends of a quarterback?
Tight end. Our boy,
exactly.
Our boy Jay Reed, he says the tight end is always open.
Tight end is always open. So,
open.
They're loaded in the backfield still. You got that. They're trying to put these pieces around Cam. Belichick is basically saying, you ain't going to see me sitting on the side you ain't going to see me pulling a Michigan 2 years in a row. That's what he said.
It always circles back, man.
He always trying to bring it back. Always trying to bring it back. Always trying to bring it back.
It's like that gif of The Beautiful Mind, and the dude has got all the diagrams going up on the board, and here comes Tony right back to that Michigan thing, boy. Ooh, the hatred is real.
But no. But you knew what I was talking about.
I get it. Whew, my goodness. Look, the Patriots, they're going to be reloaded.
That's right. But it was a Michigan man that left him sitting on the bench, right? Left him sitting on the couch. But go ahead. Yeah. You were saying, Sean?
You saying you got the best quarterback in the history of the NFL? It came from Michigan? Is that what you're saying? The GOAT?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Just saying.
Claim it, Jeff. Go on and claim it, man.
I'm just saying.
Even though it could be Jeff, it could be a guy from Notre Dame. I wonder if Ohio State has anybody in that discussion. Joe Montana.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
But hold on.
Does Ohio State have anybody in that conversation?
Yeah, they got Art Schlichter.
Art Schlichter. I bet you they'll say Art Schlichter.
I bet you they will.
Yard quarterback. Hey, now hold on a second. So we can say that the possibly the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL came from Michigan, right? But even Michigan couldn't see it. But even Michigan couldn't see it because he wasn't even the starter.
I knew you was going
he did start. He did start. Let's see. Put it this way: he won the national title, though, right? He won the national title, though, right? He was the starter for the national title. And yes, we know how long it goes, but he was. So move on. So you were saying now?
I love it, man. This is so fun. We even got extra time because of the technical difficulties. We got extra pregame time. We got extra repair time. We got the live time. Oh, I love every minute of it. I don't know what to do with y'all, man.
And I don't either. It's fun to be back. It's fun to be back after a week of what's that?
I was just saying, so I see that there's some talk about Foles going back to the Eagles to possibly back up Hurts.
So this is just kind of like, listen, everything I've heard about Foles, he's a great guy. I'll be honest with you. Like, man, I don't care what Foles does. Foles to me.
He's over it. He's over Foles.
I'm over that. Like, listen, Foles has been to a few spots. Foles fell into a great situation. He stepped up. He did exactly what he's supposed to do and ain't been able to do nothing since. It really didn't do that much before. The reality of it is, go back up Jalen Hurts, and both of them will be gone within 2 years. Okay? Because that place is a dumpster fire anyway. That's the fact. Now, with that being said, you all are both Cowboy fans, right? Y'all should be really happy right now because the fact of the matter is you have the best quarterback in the NFC East. Okay. The NFC East is in shambles. You have the best quarterback. You have the best talent in the NFC East. Okay. Listen, it's all lining up for you. Assuming Dak Prescott comes back, and is able to perform, post-injury. I think it's lining up for it. I think it's all setting up for a nice little run.
Well, they got to fix that defense. The defense was broken, even though they had. I'm not talking about personnel wise. I'm talking about schematic.
Well, they did. Well, but you bring in Dan Quinn, who is regarded as is going to end up being, or he's regarded as one of the best D coordinators.
Okay.
Period. I think that's going to mean a big difference. Okay, because like you said, Sean, you know as well as anybody, personnel like you said, they have good personnel on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Schematically, you bring a guy in who obviously you didn't keep him after last year.
Right.
You bring a guy in, you change up things. This is COVID. Okay. We talked about it. We'll get into it a little bit when it comes to college basketball. You don't have the time to put in and do these, and you're doing things that the guys didn't believe in anyway.
Right.
Okay. For the personnel that you have. You bring in a Dan Quinn. Now, the bigger issue I think they could potentially have, and you know as well as I do, sometimes you got too many cooks in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You got Quinn, who has been to a Super Bowl more recently than Coach McCarthy. Okay. And he's going to be not the number one guy, but a coordinator. You got McCarthy who,
I don't buy that. I don't, when it comes to the NFL, I don't buy, because there are staffs all over the league that have former head coaches. I mean, those guys aren't going to leave and go to college. They're going to stay in the NFL.
I get it.
I'm okay with it. I think there's a certain level of. I mean, look, there are sometimes cases where it's been reversed, right? A guy was an assistant here, and he gets hired as a head coach, and then where he used to be the guy that was the head coach gets fired, and then he brings him on as his assistant. I don't think that it's a problem.
I get what you're saying, but in an atmosphere and an environment that is Dallas, right? Every year, there's a lot of finger pointing. It was like that when Jason Garrett was there. Is it the offensive coordinator? Is it the head coach? Is it the D coordinator? Is it the owner? Is it the personnel? Who is it? In a situation where there's always going to be, listen, is it the guys we've signed to high contracts? I just, you know what? I don't know.
It happens.
We'll see.
It happens everywhere. In Cincinnati, they blame the owner.
Consistently, it's no different in a year.
But in New York, they blame the head coach in New York, and then they blame it happens at every team. Who they blaming in Chicago? In Chicago, they were blaming the GM.
Yeah,
it happens everywhere. I'm not worried about that. They'll be okay. They'll be professionals. Do your job. Look, especially like you're saying, Tone, if you're loaded with talent, all you gotta do is put together a good scheme. Hold guys accountable and put together a good game plan on game day and go play ball when you got dogs. I remember coaching semi-pro with you, Tone, and the one thing that I was we were concerned about was, is this person here? Yep. Okay, good. Is this person here? Yep. Okay, we're good. And is this person here? Okay, we're good. Right? There were certain guys that we needed to make sure that were there. If they weren't there, we were going to have some issues. We might have to do a little more coaching, a little more scheming. But when we had the dogs, we weren't worried about anything. So when your dogs are there, when Dak is there and Zeke is there and the receivers show up and the defense is there, all those guys are there and everybody's healthy, which is another issue, health, let's go play ball. I should tell Fat Boy, Coach, go Bear. They're killing us. Go Bear. I said, we can't even run base. If we can't run base, we can't do nothing extra. Let's get the basics down.
What you just described, though, sounds like every other team in the NFL right now. All those pieces got to come together for everybody.
That's right. Health-wise, because what's the difference? Coaching, ownership. What's the difference between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and whoever the worst team in the league was last year? What's the difference? Tom Brady.
I can sum it up in one statement.
What?
The best ability
is availability. That's right. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Herm Edwards.
Let's go.
Shoot.
And don't press send.
Nothing good happens after midnight. Don't press send. Availability. All right. Anything else? You play to win the game. All that good stuff.
That's right.
That dude needs to write a book.
That's right. He should. He's busy. He's busy building a program out there.
Hey,
and I'm loving it.
He's getting it done. And I enjoy watching him play. He coaches like it's an NFL game too. He's not worried about trying to hang 50 on people. He wants to defend and win by one. That's what he does every week. It seemed like every week, every game, it was, whether it was high scoring or low scoring, it was a close game. Defend and get the ball, score to win, or defend to keep the lead. And that's what it was.
I found myself staying up
To watch
those games.
They got a loaded
And
staff.
and you know me, I'm on a 5th grade bedtime schedule. But I will stay up to watch those games on the weekend.
Look, at least you on the 5th grade, bro. I'm probably following like a 2nd grade one.
Well, it's been a process.
The hell's wrong
It's
with
been a
y'all?
process.
I'm just.
We're not West Coast. We're not West
Hey,
Coast.
man. Look, there comes that point in time, your body just like, it's time to shut down. It is
Dude,
what
it's
it
10
is.
o'clock here. You all eating dinner. We're ready to lay down.
And it got nothing to do with me going to sleep at 7 o'clock like you.
What time you get up in the morning?
What do you mean? What time do I get up in the morning? 7 o'clock.
By 7 o'clock, man, it's 10 o'clock here. We're already
But
No,
what
we
time
rolling.
did you
Our
get
day.
up? There's a difference. What time did you
Get it
get
in.
up? 10 o'clock. We already
It's
rolling.
all relative,
Okay,
right?
Steve Harvey. You can't sleep till 9 o'clock on the West Coast. By the time it's 9 o'clock on the West Coast, it's noon, and then the stock market's been open for 3 hours. What the hell we talking
Exactly.
about? Yeah,
Right. That's right.
stupid.
That's right.
That's dumb. That's so dumb.
Look, man,
Wise words.
the day starts at like 5 a.m.
Oh,
Look, that's what happens when you get jump toned.
I'm sorry. No.
When those 4 are
No.
feel like 18.
Man, look,
No.
for real. Like, look, you
No.
get up, you take a few minutes for yourself. You take it where you can get it.
Take it where you can get it. Before we flip into this basketball thing, nothing works today. I just want you guys to know. So we're gonna read. I'm just gonna say mine. Thanks for listening to the Getaway Podcast with Tony, Sean, and Jeff. Go to the YouTube page, hit that subscribe button, engage with us, comment, share it. The numbers are climbing there regularly. There is no button up there. There's nothing working, Tone. Nothing pointing at. Don't worry about it. I got it.
It would be right there.
It would be right there if we could find it and get it to work.
I'm just telling you.
We're
just
lucky
pointing
to
at
be
you.
live. But I appreciate you for listening, for liking it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Shout out to A9 Radio. They give us love too. Say word, son.
Word, son.
Word, son.
Evan told me to say, oh, yeah, now it feels like normal.
That was a Quiet Fire reference.
Quiet fire. son. So basketball, we were talking
Jeff-
about in like the pre-pod, right? When I was trying to figure things out in the pre-pod, we were talking about how it's been really weird, the season and the tournament with all the upsets, and then blue bloods aren't blue bloods this year with Duke and Kentucky not making the tournament. And I didn't understand why. I felt like it was Corona. Jeff gave me an answer, but I didn't understand his answer because I needed more depth. And then here came Tony talking like Coach Pitino and giving us full details and everything like he was on CBS Sports with Clark Kellogg and them. So, Tone, go on and explain to the people why we feel like the season is not the season and what if it's going to bounce back or not.
Well, okay, Sean. Let me try to gather all that back in because I brought it the first time. So, in my opinion, myself and the other qualified folks that sit on the panels that you watch day in and day out on TNT, TBS, ESPN, and all that, I feel like yes, we will get back. We will get back. This year has been a wacky year. Corona, to me, and the challenges that have come from that, the residual effects. When it comes to college basketball, I felt like Corona was the great equalizer. Okay, I feel like Corona evened out the playing field, if you will. See, there's teams that we're used to seeing be successful, okay, year in and year out. These blue blood teams that you can count on being in the tournament, count on being high seeds. We've talked about for years now where they've kind of changed. They're bringing in the blue chip players. They're bringing in the one and dones, the ones that don't last very long. But what they're bringing in is talent, okay? And basketball is a game of matchups, and we know that. So typically those guys come in, and as they're learning, know what I'm saying? They're getting after, they're winning games, and they position themselves well. This year, nobody had that time early on. Nobody had that time together that preseason. So it kind of balanced it out for these teams that maybe aren't bringing in those blue chip guys, okay? But they have teams that are seasoned, have teams that are mature, they have teams that have been together. So although they don't have a lot of the time, in the preseason getting ready, nobody had it. But what they do have is equity built up together. And so that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing these teams knock off, teams that are getting these stars, if you will, and are going to have them. I look at a team like Gonzaga, about them, where they've really turned the corner and are mentioned as a powerhouse team. But one thing that they do is they keep players, okay, and they become seasoned, and they do sprinkle in those talented blue chip kids, okay. They've been doing that here lately, but they're still going to be very seasoned, okay, and very mature, and have that time together. So you look at a team like that dominate, whereas you look at the Kentuckys, they're always getting, I mean, they're coming in, they're bringing in, in some cases they're starting, 3-4 kids that are blue chip kids coming in, right? And they know they're only going to be there for 1 year. The problem with that is those kids didn't have that time together. So I feel like as we come out of this, it's going to kind of swing back, because they're going to have the same time now. They're going to be able to get ready. That's the long-winded answer.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, but like you said, Tony, I think part of that's going to swing back to those kids, some of those kids staying, though, right? Because if not, you're still going to run into that turnover cycle. If the one and dones continue to be one and dones, they're still not going to have that time to kind of gel. So you're still going to kind of experience that inexperienced play coming up against those teams that have the more experience.
But I think, but see, we've always had that. What I think though is going to happen is you're going to bring that talent in, and then they're going to have that time in the preseason. They're going to have that time together, whereas they didn't have it this year. See, from a talent standpoint, once those kids, these teams were building themselves, these programs were building themselves on those kids, they were still dominating, right? They were still dominating against these teams. Now, you would occasionally have a team here and a team there that made their way through, okay, that wasn't expected to, and you could say, wow, they're a senior-laden team. They're a team of seniors and juniors, guys that have stuck around, have been there, fifth-year senior, things like that. And you would have a couple sneak through here and there. Right now, man, you can just look at what's happening. You're seeing, it's a crapshoot right now in the tournament. Whether it's going to be one of those teams or one of these, quote, higher seeded teams that is expected to run through. To be honest, I mentioned it earlier. I really believe there's only 2 teams that can win this thing right now. And I think that's Gonzaga, who's really everybody's number one, and Baylor. Because I think there's that big of a difference. But I think anything else can happen in these other games. And that's just my take.
Pardon Tony's take.
Pardon my take.
That's pretty good.
But you know what? What this is doing, though, let's be honest, man. We talked about this last week. The interest in college basketball has not been there like it was in the past.
Yeah.
And I think that with all of these quote upsets and everybody's brackets being busted on day one, it's bringing a lot of attention. I've watched more NCAA basketball this year so far. I've probably watched in the last 5 years. Watched more already, because right now it's like you don't know who's going to win. It's crazy, and anything can happen. Ask the Buckeyes.
Ask Virginia.
Ask Illinois. Ask Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy, and that's what we want, right? We want parity. We want the unexpected. Okay. If our fandom is not driving us to watch, what is going to make us watch? Having no idea who's going to win. That's going to get eyes to the TVs. So, kudos to the NCAA. Now, we did have our first team fall victim to the Rona, to the vid in the tournament. It is an unfortunate situation. What was it? VCU and Oregon game last night canceled. No contest. Oregon, the seventh seed, I believe, moved on because of it. Man, that stinks. I mean, think about that. Think about being an 18 to 22-year-old, excitement of making it to the tournament, even though it's a bubble tournament, the excitement of making it to the tournament, the opportunity to play in the second round, and then all of a sudden you get called out into the hallway with your coaches and you're told, sorry, you guys are going home.
Yeah, that stinks. And it was just like last year too, when all of them got sent home or they didn't even make it there. But once again,
Didn't get to play.
It was that thing we talked about. Don't be the reason why your team can't play. Right? Don't put yourself at risk and put the whole team at risk because you're being lax in judgment and doing something that you shouldn't be doing, and by accident. No one's saying you're going out and do it on purpose, but by accident you go out there and you get caught up. And Tone, I'm gonna take half of that kudos you gave to the NCAA and I'm gonna put it in my pocket because they ain't getting it. The way they did the women teams when they got there, talking about they had their weight room set up for the men and the women. You guys see that video?
No, I missed that video.
Yeah, there was a big uproar. I can't remember. I think she played for Oregon, maybe. Young lady filmed the weight room set up for the women's teams, and it was basically a triangle rack with some dumbbells.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
And the men's was all suited and booted with benches and inclines and declines and all kind of stuff. And then now you got people chiming in.
Well, I did see where they changed that.
They did. Well, sure. Why do they have to change it though? You got organizations like
right.
these retail stores that were tweeting out, "We are ready. We'll be loaded in hours. We'll have the women's side set up in hours. We're just waiting on the okay from the NCAA." And that's a shame that it comes down to that. Like the thought that the women don't need to lift is ridiculous. What happened to fair treatment? And you set aside all the money and scholarships and Title IX and all this other stuff. Now you blatantly don't even set them up to try to stay healthy and competitive. That's ridiculous. So I'm taking half that kudos back.
That's fair. That's fair.
Didn't realize. That's
totally
crazy.
Fair.
Yeah, man.
Man, you made a somber note, Sean.
I know, right?
I'm just saying,
took
man.
The air completely out the sails.
Why they tripping? Tell them quit bugging.
Hey, that's my stimmy shimmy. Segway.
Hey.
Segway.
Stimmy.
Okay. Stimmy, Cocoa Puff.
Uh-oh.
Congratulations to everyone out there who have gotten their direct deposits, who have their checks on the way. Go stimulate the economy. Hopefully it found you and helped you out, helped you and yours. Let's get this thing going now. Bigger picture, okay? And Jeff and I were talking about this as we were awaiting the green light to start the pod. I feel like, okay, we're heading into some darker times economically, job-wise. And it's not a result of anything per se, but it's something that to me has kind of come to light the last week or two. And that is when I look at kind of where we're at, talking with different folks, we actually have a friend who's, who manages a staffing office, a major staffing office here in the region. Okay. The amount of jobs and positions that they just can't get filled right now. Quite frankly, some people will say because people don't want to work. When you start looking at, case in point, there were a couple major restaurants, okay, major fast food chain restaurants. So maybe lower wage jobs, fast food that actually had to close down. And we've seen that in different parts of the country. It had to close down for a day or two because nobody was coming into work. And so second part of that is, we've heard about these places looking to replace workers with kiosks and do more with less, but go more automated, go more touchless. And some places are already doing this, right? So, you look at that. Man, I don't know. I don't know where we're going, but it doesn't look good to me. Jonathan? Jeffrey?
They call you Jonathan?
Yeah. I don't know. Look, the future with, we took advantage of it, right? We invested in a company that's going and developing touchless shopping, retail, and software as a service, data collection and analytics. And
Shout out to Popcom.
shout out to
I'll say it.
Popcom.
That's right. Shout out to Popcom.
Yeah.
That's right.
Don
Stock with the
Dickinson,
two people watching. With
Columbus, Ohio.
the two people watching this right now. Raise the stock. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
hit
go.
that like button, son.
Hit the like button. Share that.
Right,
All
but
Share it.
that's the future of it, right? People don't want to be touching stuff. People don't want to be all close to stuff. You know, just going in, facial recognition, going there. Oh, we recognize you, and hey, we got your information on file, and this is what you want to buy. Boom, bang, bang. Get out of here. But I don't understand the whole part of, you know, you talking about this person's got all these jobs available. Is that because we're leaning on unemployment insurance and all that stuff? Is that what we're doing? We're letting that expire before we go out and get jobs?
So here's the reality. Okay. We talked about this before. We talked about this 6 months ago. We talked about this 9 months ago. Okay. For some people, they are getting paid more now not to work. Remember when we've had that discussion?
Yeah.
And so if you're going to pay people more to sit at home and not necessarily require them to go out and find these jobs. Listen, here's the reality, man. And I'm not knocking anybody, and I'm not, taking any political side. I'm not doing any of that. Here's the facts. There are a lot of jobs out there right now. There are. And I can say that, I'm giving an example of one person in one office in one city that has 200 plus jobs available right now on her desk.
Right.
That she cannot fill. where in a given day, she'll have 5 to 7 people that just don't show up for the job were given, that they came in and sought out.
Right.
And were given, and they just don't show up. Okay. On a given day. That's in one office. I can't for the life of me think that that's unique. And so that being the case, my question then becomes, okay, if these jobs are available, and I'm not saying it's your final job. I'm not saying it's your destination job.
Right.
But at the end of the day, people aren't in a situation right now where it necessarily pays to go take the job, especially if it's not going to pay them what they're making not taking a job right now.
All right.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem.
So I wonder if just to kind of counter that just a little bit, how much of it is based off of the not wanting something temporary, but wanting that permanent position, and it's hard to take a position where it's temporary and not necessarily have the opportunities for benefits and things of that nature. If you're in a situation where if you're the single parent trying to take care of somebody, you gotta also think about like childcare. That single parent who maybe did seek out that opportunity, had the opportunity, had things lined up, and something fell through, and all of a sudden I don't have anybody to watch my kid. I can't get to work, and so there's a lot of different things that I think fall into that impact that. It's not so much about people not wanting to be able to work, but you got schools that are partially in and out, right? Mm-hmm. As far as it, so we're normally during the work day or those traditional work hours, the kids are in the school building. So I can go work at least from 9 to 2:30, 3 o'clock, because I know in that 7 hour window, my child is taken care of. But now, because you had this remote thing going on, you have kids who are learning at home and parents who have stayed at home, who now their jobs are forcing them or starting to push them back into the workforce or back into the brick and mortar environment. And now you've got to try to figure out like, okay, now my child is still 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. Can't necessarily leave them at home. The days of latchkey kids like we were growing up, a little bit different now. So I think you run into that challenge where, you are going to have a bunch of positions sitting open because you got a lot of people stuck at home, not necessarily in a negative way, but they're at home tending to and taking care of their kids because their kids are in a remote environment. There's just a lot of factors, I think, that you can't I don't think you can throw a blanket over it and say that it's because people don't want to work. I think there's a lot of different. I think no one wants to depend on anybody. I won't say that. Most
Okay.
people don't want to depend on. Most people want to be able to sustain themselves. And I'll just say this for those of you who are out there, this will be a great time to be entrepreneurs. Look for your gift and work within it to try to start something new until you're able to get out there.
I think your latter reasoning, I buy that. The first thing you said though, people not looking for something temporary. I don't buy into that train of thought. I buy into you do what you have to do. I look at myself. I look at people that I know who didn't find their calling or their final destination. It might not even be their final, but their career, job, until later in life. And so up until then, I think you do what you have to do. I know people that DoorDash, and work 2 jobs. Right.
Look, I'm not too far from that, bro. Like there was a point where I left the classroom, and when I was leaving the school building from teaching all day, I went to go ref for another 3 to 4 hours a night, and then would get home, lay down, and get up and go to school the next day to start to teach, to then turn around and hop back into another few hours a night to go ref. So I get it, and like I said, not afraid of that hustle. Working 2 or 3 jobs to try to make sure that things get covered. Like I said, and it's not to say that people won't do that. Just think, we came up in a different period and different era where we've seen people have to get out there and hustle to do that. So for us to do it, it didn't seem brand new. Well, I don't know. I just think there's, even when I look at students, the mindset as far as the work and doing the work, from the student standpoint, or even to watching how our parents, there was a time like think about when we were growing up, the phone call went home. Our response was, please don't call my mom. Don't call my mom, because I don't want her to come up to this building, because if she come up to this building, it's a wrap for me.
Yeah.
So what do you want me to do? Because I'd rather do what you want me to do than to have my mama come up here and get me. Right? These kids today, call my mama. And then when you call the parent comes up there and they clown. It's one of those things where they come straight at the adult. And not to say that our parents didn't, take our side, but it's like one of those things where, at least in the presence of the other adult, you better not say nothing. You better not be disrespectful. And you allowed your parents to do what they need to do. But there was never a point where the school was always at the blame or the adults were to blame. So I think there's a little coddling that has taken place that has kind of.
I'm gonna pull it back. I'm gonna pull it back to the job thing in finances. Childcare has always been an issue when it comes to work, especially for those that are below the poverty line as far as their income. Childcare has been a major issue all the time, right? How can I go work 40 hours? I got a couple of kids and I'm a single mom, or I'm a single dad and I got a child I got to take care of, but the child care is more expensive than the money that I'm making. It's not even worth it. So a lot of times people stay on the system because of that, right? And then now you add in the fact that there is a virus out there that can potentially harm your children. And I'm saying when they go to school, and I'm saying after school if you paid for child care there, right? Mm-hmm. So some of those places are now closed, and parents don't have the access to that daycare center where, okay, my child is done with school and now they go over here for a couple hours until I'm done with work. I think that's a factor in people not wanting to get off that unemployment insurance and because they don't have anybody to take care of their child. So if I can go down there, yep, there's 200 jobs down here at such and such as temp service, but I can't go down there and get it because one, from 8 to 3, my kid's not at school, and then from 3 to 5, there is no daycare center. right? So that's where, they were talking about funding for schools to make sure the schools are healthy in a sense of the virus and ventilation and cleaning and
Right.
all that stuff. And then I don't know if there's money going for hopefully they can get some of that PPE money for these daycares so they can provide their services to these parents that need it the most. So if I got 2 kids, Johnny and Jill, and I can't go to work because I got to watch them because the school's not open, and then I can't do nothing because there's no daycare. I can't send, if I'm running a daycare center, I'm not willing to risk taking in all of your children. I don't know what you do when you're at home, and then you're gonna bring them to me, and then I could get sick and die. Mm-hmm. It's a double-edged sword. So I can see why there's an imbalance when it comes to there's a bunch of openings, but people still aren't willing to take the risk, or they just can't do it because they gotta watch the kids.
Those are all good points. So I guess one of the things that, in my original statement, one of the things that I fear, okay, because let's put ourselves in the company's standpoint, right? So they have all these jobs that they can't fill, positions that they can't fill. So what do? They have to adapt and adjust and adjust their infrastructure, right, to be able to be financially sound and profitable based on what they have, right? So what does that mean? Sometimes that means eliminating jobs. Sometimes it means finding different ways to do it so you don't need those people. Mm. So what happens when we start to come out of this?
Pivot.
Okay, and then those people are well, that's right. So the pivot has happened. Okay, let's say at that point the pivot has happened in these companies, right? So the kiosks are in the buildings. There is more automation as it comes to in industry, right? And then these people don't have jobs to go back to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so, in the sense of fast food, though, I mean, McDonald's was already making that shit. I mean, before COVID, you could walk into a McDonald's and see a kiosk.
Well,
and order your food. Order your food from the kiosk and walk up and then there was somebody to hand it to you. But you had that option. So that's not even a COVID thing.
It also goes back to the thing that we talked about, Tone. Here is your opportunity, right? You at the very beginning of this, you saw all these Ivy League schools and colleges were making all these programs free and available. Take you some classes and go get certified in something. I know some people try to clown. I saw a video where they're like, yeah, you got a lot of nerve telling some people, and it wasn't talking about us, but I'm talking about in general, telling people, well, if you ain't getting better than during the pandemic because you got the opportunity, then you're just looking down on people. Well, wait a minute. Here's your opportunity. You got free this and free that, and you got nothing but time. So if you can't see big picture like Tone's talking about where things are going to go away, well, you better be pivoting with those companies who are leaving those other jobs behind and finding a new way. So to pivot, they need technology. Well, guess what? Go out there and get you some STEM education. And then you can just jump right back into the workforce. And it is not disparaging for us to say, get better during this pandemic because you have time. Don't waste your time. That's the only thing we're saying. We're not saying, yeah, if you don't, you're a jerk or you're a dummy. We're just saying here's an opportunity to get better and prepare yourself. Because you will get left behind, like Tone said. They're going to make a move, and we're going to shut down 25% of the factory, of the warehouse, because we don't need it any longer, because we've automated all these things. But guess what? Right. They need somebody to repair those machines. They need somebody to code those machines. They need somebody to do all that stuff. So you can pivot and stay with the company and get you an education. Look, it doesn't. Some of these things don't require 4 years. Some of these tech jobs don't require 2 years. Some of these tech jobs only require certification and a willingness to learn. So right now, Eva's youngest son, is making a pivot. He works for the water company in a city, so he's got a good job, but he's making a pivot. He's like, I don't want to work hard. I want to work smart. So he's right now studying for his A+, CompTIA A+, because he's going to pivot and get paid a little bit more money to work on tickets and fix computers versus out there working on busted pipeline and installing hydrants and whatnot. So he's 20-something years old. He's figured it out.
Yeah.
Right? So I told him you don't have to have a bachelor's degree. You don't have a master's. You don't need an associate's. You just need a certification saying that you study this, you learn it. These are the basics, and then people will hire you off of that alone. And I told him, give yourself 2 months. If you dedicate it, you can study for that and watch videos and practice on a quiz app that they got on your phone. And in 2 months' time, you can be certified CompTIA and open the door for tech jobs. 2 months out, it's been a year already. Could have a bunch of tech certs, and, and that's not the only thing. There's other jobs and fields. Go get you certified in something, and then you're ready for the pivot.
Yeah,
that's right.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Getaway Podcast.
All right, we got to pay some more bills.
Do us a favor.
Doing it right
hit the
now.
Subscribe button right there on YouTube.
Okay.
Like it, share it. We appreciate it. Right there.
Can't hear
right
it.
there. All right.
You can't hear it?
Also, you
But I
can
can't
follow
hear
us
it.
on any
Barely.
social media platform.
There's a whisper there.
For instance, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,
But it's there.
all that good stuff. And last but not least, you can check out the audio on pretty much anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. So,
Cut you off, Tom. Sorry.
A-okay.
Back at it.
Say word, son.
works.
Or son. And Jeff.
And Jeff. Jeff's like, don't be talking about me like that anymore, man. My team is still in the turning.
Oh,
There you go.
God.
Here we
My
go.
team is
Right
still
back
playing.
to it.
right back to it.
Right to
This
it.
dude is relentless.
I ain't said nothing about it.
What is going on?
I'm just giving this man his due.
Look, I'm just gonna let
Let's
Tony.
give him his
I'm gonna let him talk good and bad for me. Go ahead, Tony. You got it.
Yeah, hey, you gotta give them their due, man. When they deserve it, they deserve it.
Oh, I don't know.
Man,
I'm just.
I got nothing.
I'm at a loss too. He stays on you, man.
Hey, got nothing. It is
Nothing?
what it is at this point. Hey, like I
Hey.
said, it's.
Hey.
You know me. I'm gonna call it like I say. We have not done what we needed to do. Period. So I mean, until
That's no fun.
until it changes. Hey, but until it changes, it needs
Jeff,
to change.
you know what you've become.
Because every time I bring up anything else, y'all, man, that was back then. That
You
was
know
back
what you've
then.
become, Jeff.
So I'm gonna stay right where I'm at.
You know what you've become, Jeff? You remember the after school shows and whatnot, and it's about kids in school, and there's a bully in the school, and every day the bully takes the kid's lunch money, but he's been beating his tail. Tone has been punching you in the eyeball and taking your lunch money, and now, and in the show, you know what the kid does? He gets
But
smart.
this is not.
Hold on.
But this is not the. But it's not the same.
But in the
It's not
TV
the
show,
same.
hold on, let me finish. In the TV
But
show, the kid has gotten smart. He puts the money in an envelope. He turns the corner to go down the hallway. There's the bully. He just hands the kid the envelope. No more
No.
punching the eyeball. Take my lunch
Here's the
money,
thing.
son.
It's not the same.
It is.
Here's the thing. It's not, because right now the success that the Michigan basketball team is having, right? It's like the basketball program has been consistent, even slightly before Juwan and now with Juwan, they've been playing pretty well. But here's the thing: from the football standpoint, the difference between us and that school in Columbus right now is the fact that they have dominated the series, like we did in the early part of the late 80s, early 90s, where there was that shift. The shift has happened. They're dominating it. There's nothing to argue or go back and
Right.
forth with. Like
And it's just never swung back.
quite honestly, the pendulum has not swung back. And quite honestly, I mean, the games have not been close. I think there may have been 1 or 2 years where it was close, but it hasn't been really. So outside of me just sitting up and saying, yeah, Ohio State sucks. I mean, the data.
Give him your envelope of lunch money is what I'm saying.
The data does not support me.
That's
sitting
what
up
I'm
here trying
saying.
to-
I'm saying you've
I'm not-
become
it's
You know
that.
what?
it ain't me giving up no
You
lunch
have.
money. It's just
You're giving
stating
him your lunch
facts.
money.
You're both right.
Stating facts.
That's right.
You turn
Both right.
the corner. You give the bully an envelope with your $1.25 for lunch. Is that how much lunch
Nah,
is?
bro.
$1.25, and then you go down the
Until-
hallway.
no.
He's happy.
So,
but you know what?
this
You
is
have
what
a
I've
peanut
learned.
butter and jelly sandwich in your book bag, and you're
What,
happy.
what I've learned is this: when you see the bully,
That's the NCAA tournament.
until the tide turns and you're bigger than the bully, you just turn and walk the
That's
different
right.
way.
Gotta get in the weight room. Gotta get in the weight room.
Like,
But
so
Sean,
right
it's
now,
not- it's
so
not
right
like-
now, so right now, I'm in the weight room preparing for that next opportunity because as of right now,
That's right.
we're not
Okay,
ready to
Lester, now,
compete
come on.
with the bully. So
You need
once
to
we're
be on the
ready to
recruiting
compete with the
trail.
bully,
You need to be on
We'll
the
be
recruiting
there.
trail and the weight room. Can you do both at the same time?
so hey, we'll see
You
what
done,
happens.
you done
know,
made this man tear his equipment up in his.
Look, you see me? I done threw my
Pull
mic,
stuff
pulled
off
my
the
mic
desk,
off
like-
and everything. Just, I'm done.
Now, Sean, it's not, Sean, it's not like I'm
Here you
sitting here
go.
being facetious and saying giving him credit for finishing the season. I mean, dang it, you're supposed to finish the season, right? I'm not giving him credit for finishing the season. I'm saying kudos for the success that you are having, and wishing continued success for the duration of this event, which is the NCAA tournament.
Here, at the end of the
That's
day,
where we're
when the Big Ten wins, all of them win. So
You
That's
know
right.
what?
here we go.
I hate that. You know what? I
Listen,
hate that.
I wouldn't expect.
Here's
But
the
Sean,
that's
deal.
Sean,
conference,
I
though.
wouldn't
Let me tell you
But that's
something.
conference.
I wouldn't expect you
Let
to
me tell you
understand
something.
that because you don't have a
But
conference.
y'all not in the conference.
Well,
but at the
okay,
end
but
of the day,
you know what? But you know
but-
what? I
but the
root for pro
conference-
teams that are in a conference, right? So if the Dallas Cowboys don't make the playoffs, you know who I'm not rooting for? The Giants, the Redskins, or the Eagles. I'm not rooting for none of them jokers to win nothing. I'm not rooting for any other NFC conference to win a Super Bowl. God dog it. Man, if y'all gonna hate. Those are your rivals, man. You know what? When Georgetown was making it, you know who was not rooting for Georgetown? Syracuse fans. Are you crazy? That's a lame excuse because you've heard for years that the SEC is better than the Big Ten, and now collectively we got to sing Kumbaya when one of us make it because we know if we root against them, the SEC is better, is what we're going to hear. That's the reasoning behind this. You are never supposed to root
Be
for
honest with you,
Michigan,
though.
and you are never supposed to root for Ohio State, and Auburn don't root for Alabama, and Alabama don't root for Auburn, and Notre Dame don't root for none of y'all.
and you know what?
Okay.
That's not true.
Okay,
Because I
hold
can
on,
guarantee you,
Jeff.
every SEC
Okay.
team roots for an SEC
No, they
team.
don't.
Yes, they
Charles
do.
Barkley had to.
Okay,
He
okay.
said they had to convince Charles Barkley to say "Roll Tide" yesterday on the thing,
And he said-
and
no,
he
did he?
said
Did
it.
he
And
say
then,
it?
you know what they said? Say it again. He said, "It's a one-time thing. I can't say it again."
Just because he don't say it, don't mean he
well,
don't
He's
believe it.
not rooting for Alabama.
He from Alabama.
things.
Yes, he is.
Two things.
He went to Auburn because they didn't
Okay.
recruit.
Dog, USC and UCLA. USC don't root for UCLA, and vice versa.
Okay, so two things here. I'll be honest with you, it gets tiring kicking that dead horse over and over and over. That's the first thing. Okay, I will say this. The second thing, I lied. I ain't rooting for them. I really don't care. I
Right.
hope they go out in this round too.
Thank you.
But-
Thank you. Don't
See, you
don't
pulled
have
that out of me.
don't be all cordial
Pull that
on
out of
TV, man. I want the raw, real. I want
You know why?
Wu-Tang
And
up
you know
in this
why?
mug.
You said
You know
Wu-Tang.
why? Because and you know why? Because Jeff, I know for dang sure
I ain't
you
never.
wasn't rooting for us against Alabama.
Man,
No, you weren't.
man.
I don't care what you said.
He was not.
He was not rooting.
He was not.
You was not rooting.
Right. So why are we playing this
Look, like
dance?
you say, look, I didn't care one way or the other. I
Us
just
Big
didn't care.
Ten. Us Big Ten. We always root for the Big Ten. My foot.
Hey,
My
look, money
foot.
coming into the conference regardless. But at the end of the day, yeah, I was all right with it. But I did like.
Hey, you
but
think? Do you
but I
think?
did like y'all quarterback though. I did like watching play.
Yo,
Except when he
do you
was
think?
against us.
Do you think
Mhm.
North Carolina roots for Duke and vice versa? Oh, ACC! When Krzyzewski's out there holding up trophies and cutting down nets, do you think that Dean Smith and Roy Williams was like, yes, ACC, we did it? Hell no!
I think when Roy Williams was coaching against Mike Krzyzewski at the end of the season, he had his foot on his throat, and then he told him when they hugged afterwards, "Got real close.
I got you.
Have fun at home." That's what I believe.
I got you.
That's what I believe.
Oh, no doubt about it. I'm sure about it.
Ain't no rooting, man. There's no
Look,
rooting interest, man. It's like
I
like
mean, just
game
as,
war.
I mean, it's the same way as with Jawan and the Maryland coach, right?
Right.
Ain't no love lost there.
Ain't
you
no
know.
love lost.
All right, well, I take it back. Have fun while it lasts, Jeff, because once it's over, it's over. For at
That's
least
right. But
another-
look, and y'all
9
just
months.
enjoy watching it. Just continue watching the tournament from at home
we're
like
gonna
everybody
put
else.
100 this year.
Go ahead. All right, 100.
100. The 100. Hey, the 100 that you didn't let us put on you last year. Why? Because you didn't show up to the game.
Because y'all,
Is that still in effect? I have a question. Hold
you
on.
didn't show up
Hold
to the
on.
game.
Give me a second. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, it's
you
gonna
are
be a minute.
listening to the Getaway Podcast with Tony, Sean, and Jeff. You see that subscribe button right there? Do me a favor. Go ahead and click that when you are on our YouTube channel. And if you don't mind, go ahead and like, comment, and share the link with your friends. You can also
even
follow
spell
us
that.
on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Again, like, comment, and share. We enjoy every opportunity that we get to engage with you. We're also available on platforms such as Spotify, Amazon, and any other streaming service that you access your favorite
trying to say that
podcast,
Giving us his best.
in addition
Well,
to
he's
any
saying my
Alexa-enabled
promos, Lord.
devices.
This is his way of saying,
Thank you for
could read a whole
supporting
book
and listening to the
while
Getaway
while my
Podcast with Tony,
promos
Sean,
come
and
up. So
Jeff.
that's what he's saying. Yes.
Say word,
Yes.
son.
Words, son. Good God. I forgot what I was going to say.
Say it's okay, Sean. Don't worry
Damn.
about it.
It's all right. Old age does that to you.
It was so long.
I know, right? It was so long that your whole beard just grew in white.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Come
I
on,
know-
Sean.
I know what I was going to ask. Tone, is the 100-point ass
Okay.
whooping still in effect?
Whoa,
Since my-
whoa.
Beep,
We
No,
are-
ain't no beep. I can say that
beep, beep.
because he talking about my beard. Is that butt whooping still
Look.
in effect?
Why are you mad?
Tell
Because
you
you still
something.
got to wait 13 years before you can try
Well,
to.
okay.
Do
better.
But,
Do
look,
better. I still
play-
got the can of
You know what?
popcorn over there from last time.
Yeah, but that wasn't for your game.
You know what?
But it was
Coach
still
Day,
something.
to be honest with you, Coach Day has more class than to hold grudges like that. So until Jim
Man, look.
Harbaugh opens his mouth, we're probably just gonna beat the heck out of him like we always do. But if he opens
Man,
his mouth
stop.
in the Big Ten, meetings again and the calls and all that kind of stuff, listen,
I was so
Yes.
looking forward to that. I mean, that's one of the best lines. When coaches start to going at it, that's one of the best lines I've ever heard. I can't wait to hang 100 on this team.
Yeah, that was funny. It was funny.
That's beautiful.
okay. Last thing, because I know we're about over, right?
Yeah.
we're about over.
Yeah.
About over. Okay, I don't know how many people saw this, but Deion Sanders took his first loss as a college head coach.
I saw- Yeah,
Yesterday.
I saw it.
Okay, to Alabama State,
Yeah.
35-28.
Yeah.
Now,
Good
how do you
game.
feel about post game? It obviously was a great game. How do you feel about post game? Alabama State
That's bull.
popping up on the jumbotron, a picture of Jerry Curl, Deion Sanders from the draft with the gold chains from back in the day. How do you feel about that?
I love the pettiness.
Do you really?
I love the pettiness.
Hey, look,
Do you really?
I don't believe in
not?
classy. I don't believe in classy when it comes to that.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it. Because look,
Yeah.
because Deion has been the star of this season in that conference, and the HBCUs. Some of those coaches, them head Chacos, probably are not happy with all the coverage that he's getting for that program, right? And and he made a very, very good point before the season, and he said it again. He said, "You better get me now. You other schools, you other HBCUs in the SWAC, you better get me now before I get my guys in here." So
Mhm.
they're getting him now. And he said it was classless. Deion didn't like it. So he's gonna remember it. He's gonna write it down and he's gonna be ready to roll with him. I'm okay with it. I like the petty. I love the petty. Go ahead, Jeff.
and at the end of the day, it's all about the show. You build up stuff, right?
That's right.
It is. Nobody wants to see the boring, like, oh, nice little. People want to see a little.
That's true.
You
That's
know,
true.
you want to see a little bit of that. That's what makes the rivalries. Everybody wants to be. I want to be
that's a
that
good
rival,
point.
right? I want to be that part of that Jackson State. And who's their rival? Is it Prairie View?
I don't
I'm trying
know.
to think who they.
I don't know.
Yeah, so it's like so. This is a great chance, a great space for the SWAC to get this pub.
What it
'Cause
is,
there's
you know
no-
what it's been for me, man. It's been an education. I enjoy it now, because in the fall we don't get to watch those games. You're always going to watch I always try to watch the best game of the week and then have a couple different games on. but I never. I may sit down for when Grambling plays Southern and watch that game. But other than that, man, like I'm not seeing it. I don't get to see it, and I've really enjoyed watching these guys play. All these schools get after it.
Yeah, but they never gave it to us, though. I mean, at the end of the day, we got the one bowl game that
Yeah.
we would do mid-season.
Yeah.
If you happen to live in Indiana or Indianapolis, you had the
Circle City Classic. Yeah,
And then here in Chicago, they started doing the Windy City Classic. So, I mean,
right.
outside of being exposed to those, you just didn't see and get that exposure. So I think it's great. I think if it requires bringing a little petty into the
Yeah, I love the petty.
into the situation, yeah, why not?
Okay, I get that. I guess it's, I guess when I think about it, we do the same thing year after year. We come up with different memes to express, like the result of our game with you guys. So I get that. I agree. Carry on. Carry on.
Oh my God. And on that note,
Whew.
huh?
You gonna take us out, DJ?
Yeah, I'm taking us out, baby.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Getaway Podcast with Tony, Sean, and Jeff. We have a lot of fun doing this. We appreciate y'all tuning in, checking it out, sharing it, liking it. At the end of the day, it's just a chance to get away from the monotony and everything going on. We look forward to getting to you next week. Jeff is going to do his best Tony impression after Ohio State loss and be gone. So it'll probably just be me and Huffman next week. See, I can poke fun at myself.
There you go. Right? There
I
you
can
go.
poke fun at myself. See, I can do that. But have a great week.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Tune in,
wish
listen
my
over and
mama
over.
Happy birthday.
And hey, go hug your mama, man.
Happy
Go hug
birthday.
your mama. Safe travels.
He see
Safe
how he tried to
travels.
play you, Jeff. He tried to play. He knew you wasn't gonna be
I know.
here. He tried to play you.
Look, right. That's all right though. But look, I ain't running cause my team lost.
That's what's
That's
up.
right.
Hey y'all, thanks for
Hey, but
listening.
look,
Thanks
but
for
he
watching this. Hey, go to the YouTube page, go to Facebook, do all that stuff. Shout out to A9 Radio for hooking us up with the dope
A9.
beat. Yo, they shout us out on their show all the time. Go listen to them. They go on Tuesdays. A9 Radio 937.com. Say words, son.
Words.